Pro Audio Secrets, a show that helps you to find your own voice in sound.
We've been quite rebels.
Rebels, yeah, because we are Italian and we mock everything.
We had no idea of how the industry or the game production works at all.
Video games were my biggest passion, but I've never thought about making that a job.
I actually didn't pass any test.
You have to sacrifice something to do that.
You've been trained having this. I think that's probably 50-50 with the knowledge.
So tell me about your process.
We found out that working with is way more beneficial.
The consequence of this was
Yeah, you can say that.
So do you have anything that you recommend others?
The most useful thing is yeah, there's no way around it. It pays off every time.
The age of gatekeeping is kind of over.
Definitely over.
In this episode of Pro Audio Secrets, I'm talking with Enrico and Ricardo from Venice in Italy. They run a company called HEX ARCHIVE together, and they know each other for many years, going way back since they were teenagers. And now they work mainly in sound effects and music for video games, working also for sound effects libraries like Boom Library, and Dynamedion is a big client of them. Also, they worked for companies like Tencent and Ubisoft and provide sound effects for Artlist and Soundly. So let's dive right into the conversation with Enrico and Ricardo. As we have met lately on Gamescom, this was not the first encounter we had. We were meeting online, I think through LinkedIn a couple of times, and had some exchange there about your new studio and maybe some things that you were curious about in terms of implementing Foley into the whole premises there. And that's how we got to know each other. So you started out in high school knowing each other as 15-year-olds. So you know each other now for 15, 16 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you started as a band that Ricardo founded, and then Enrico joined as a keyboarder. So that are two character roles to my understanding, much more than a bass player. And from there, you finished high school and started studying music at a conservatory in Italy. And both of you ended up studying film scoring. Whereas you, Enrico, wanted to pursue a career in game audio and game music from the beginning. And from there you took it, and a first game jam then put you into the first contacts, and that's where it all started, that you two start a company together that is now called HEX ARCHIVE and is focused on sound effects and music creation for video games and also commercials and other types of media. And can you get a bit more into the detail of how that first game jam impacted your career and also your coming together as founders?
I think it's all about network. The fact that we had no idea of how the industry or the game production works at all, and that was our first step in. And the game jam was so, like, if I think about it also today, that experience was so true to what actually a development of a game is. So it makes sense. You're there, you face the same problems. Audio is always the last one to be considered. Everything is cool, but then you end up having a game with no audio in it. So I think it's just how things goes normally in obviously talking about indie projects. But I think that that was a really, really good thing because we had a chance to create a lot of connections and also to experiment something that we found that we both love. I think that Ricardo didn't do much at that game jam. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I did all the audio for Convolution, our first, which was our first prototype. And funny enough, those were the guys that are maybe our closest friends in the development world. Which the Global Game Jam was in Turin. So just not Milan, not Rome, but Turin. And now that I actually split my work and my life between Turin and Venice now. Number one, because my girlfriend lives there, and number two, because we have a lot of things going on in Turin, and it's actually funny to think about how impactful that very first game jam was, because we met our closest development friends.
So when was that? This first game jam?
15.
9 years ago, and you did have to be there physically. You had to travel to Turin and
100%.
and do it there.
And sleep on the floor. Yeah.
Me too, actually. It was super messy and super, I would say super janky. Maybe it's not very kind to say that, but it was kind of janky. So everything sleeping on the floor but it was super fun. I mean, I think it's part of the experience, really. Sleeping on the floor. It's like a pajama party, you know.
You two are both passionate about games and game audio, and this is also your main focus, right? That you do at the moment in your company.
Yeah, for me it was gaming that got me into this job, like because I studied electronics, so I was studying something really technical. I had nothing to do with any creative stuff. But when I tried to think about what I wanted to do for real in my life, like something, I want to try something crazy and do something that at the time made no sense. That's why when I decided to join the conservatory, because I thought that the coolest thing possible was to make music for video games, because I was so in love with Halo, and Halo the video game was the thing that got me into this creating these suggestions in people, matching a word and so on. That was my biggest drive at the beginning.
And you, Ricardo, did you had a similar passion for video games back then?
I mean, I've always had a wild passion for video games since I was maybe 7. Actually 7 years old, because it was 99 when I got my very first console. I've always had a wild passion for games, and I've always played maybe an excessive amount of hours in every kind of games since I was a child. But I didn't was intention to pursue that as a career. I was thinking about working in the film industry, in the music production. I mean, in the music. How do you call that? In the music industry. The music industry. Yeah, as a composer or as a performer. Or video games have always been my biggest passion, but I've never thought about making that a job, and that came. I think that that came out when I started working with Enrico and spending time with Enrico. I think I remember realizing that playing the first Dark Souls game, where I had that kind of deep and meaningful experience, where I thought I want this to be my job.
So you inspired each other in multiple ways throughout the decades almost.
I'm realizing that as I speak. That's why I'm thinking I'm so slow, because I'm realizing all these things now. Actually, that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
I mean, that's great. I mean, that's already a very positive outcome of our conversation.
Yeah.
So let me.
It's like therapy. It's like being in therapy maybe now.
In therapy with the Foley teacher.
Yeah.
Welcome to my podcast.
Audio therapy.
So what I'm interested in, because I also wanted to study at not a conservatory, but on a film school that was basically built their study from a music conservatory. So it was very music heavy in order to get in. And I couldn't match the criteria, even though I practiced piano for a couple of years in order to get in. I didn't make it. So how was your upbringing in terms of learning an instrument and being around music for you, that you could achieve this being accepted at a conservatory?
It's a funny story. It's a really funny story. Like Ricardo should like can say anything about it, but for me, like I was more like on your side, so I understand you because I never studied music before joining a conservatory. As I told you, I was like a technician, but Ricardo helped me that summer to learn a little bit about music theory. I started a little bit of like basic music theory, and I still going on by the way to this day. It never ends the lessons, but I was playing the piano, but I was like really self-taught, so everything was uh, not the best. But we were very lucky, I think, even though I don't believe in luck. That was the first year that they opened this course, and they wanted to try to see how it was going. So there was like, we need students, we need their money. So I actually didn't pass any test. I think I passed one of the three tests. It was like music theory, composition, and then some sort of like interview. My interview was great because the teacher was a technician as well. He was an engineer, so he loved me compared to like other musicians that were there. Like he felt really, but music theory and music composition, they were, yeah. So they said, okay, well, we're gonna do it again, and then I did it again, and I passed, and because I started studying a little bit.
Maybe it had some kind of potential in you. Who
Yeah, yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah. There was, and also that, and the fact that we were a little bit lucky with the situation that we were in. Um, so music came a little bit, theory came a little bit later on. Um, but we managed by the end of those 3 years. If I think about it, it's amazing that I got into that. I was not even able to write a piano score, and I end up directing an orchestra, playing my music, and recording the music of my orchestra. Like that's a really big improvement.
That's pretty great. Yeah.
Agreed.
So
So you made also the best out of those 3 years, and you
yeah,
invested yourself a lot into the things that were offered.
yeah, and that's the reason why I started the first year saying, okay, I'm gonna be here 1 year, 2 year, and then I'm gonna move to the USA, or I was checking Canada or other places, the UK, where I could study in those more famous school. But
Mm.
then I realized that that was not what I wanted. That was something that someone told me that was better, and I found other values, and I think it's there when we started, me and Ricardo, to craft our own vision of what we wanted to do, and we were looking at things, this sort of path that are already uh, in front of you, no? And you say, is it really what we want? Is it really? And I think me and him were always been a little bit, how can you say,
I'm
uh,
curious to know
no,
to hear the
no,
adjective you're looking for.
no, ribelli, rebels.
Rebels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been quite rebels when it comes to this typical choice.
Mm.
Uh,
So let me recoup again. Uh, Both of you are very passionate about sound, about music. You invested your youth into practicing your instrument, either self-taught or not, but you managed to get into the conservatory, and then you got to meet each other and share also your passion about video games, and then you decide you want to go into that field. And
We also engaged. Sorry, Martin. We also engaged in a lot of projects during the conservatory era, like making EPs, making music, trying to get into the music industry. We had a lot of side projects going
hmm.
on during the conservatory, so we bonded there as
And
well.
how was it with you, Ricardo, that you got so good in playing the guitar?
I mean, I gotta say, I started playing the guitar for Guitar Hero 2, the game, the PS2
Mm.
game, which is funny, but nonetheless very true. I started playing from there, and I thought, oh, that must be very cool to play the guitar, the real guitar. And from there I studied a lot. I was a heavy studier in music. I have to be honest with myself. I've always been very, very passionate about studying, harmony, theory, and every kind of thing you can study in music, especially harmony. I've always been super, super, super passionate about harmony and theory. And so the test for the conservatory was a bit, not really easy, but smooth, I would say. And from there, I slowly, I would say abandoned, but abandon maybe is a better term. I've slowly abandoned the guitar and playing guitar in favor of music production, sound effects, and blah blah blah. So it's maybe the biggest regret I have in my career, in my little career. So to not play the guitar that much anymore. But I still play, and it's fine. I'm happy. I'm very happy with everything and how things are now. So I mean, it's you have to sacrifice something to do that. So it's fine for me. But I remember very fondly the moments at the conservatory, and now that I think about it, I think it's been a very. I mean, we always mock the conservatory because we are Italian and we mock everything, and we have that kind of love and sympathy bond with the conservatory and our teachers. But I remember it very fondly because if I think about how we were when we started the conservatory and how we were after doing the conservatory, the difference is, I think, it's incredible. So conservatory, without any doubt, has been a huge experience for us. We entered as teenagers, not very good teenagers, and we exit that we were professionals in some way, I think.
And more disciplined, I assume.
Yeah, actually very, very, very disciplined, and with a better nose for the market, the business, and the job itself. With a better sense of everything.
It's all due to the fact that our main teacher, our mentor, was like a person who was working in the industry of film music. So he was like letting us work on what he was working all the time. So every commercial, everything was like hands-on, something that is real, and also knowing all the backstory, knowing all the problems, knowing all that also the schedule, the deadlines that he had. Like you get to get your hands on something that is real, that is real work.
Yeah, it was real world commissions.
Yeah, so you get out of there that you're a professional. Maybe you still have a lot of training in your composition and so on, but you've been trained quite a lot on having this instinct of being a professional. I think that's probably 50-50 with the knowledge. So, and either you do after and you start working, and then when you get you smash your face into the problems and you learn. But we were lucky enough to have this person that really and his name is Marco. So just make
Hi Marco.
Shout out to Marco.
Shout out to Marco.
I mean, I can really relate to that because when I was not being accepted at the film school, I landed an apprenticeship at a post-production facility in Berlin, and they did the same kind of training with me. So they gave me real projects. They briefed me about it, what was my job on it. For example, first thing was Foley editing. And then I had to deliver in a certain amount of time, which usually was the double amount of time that the normal employees had. And my only job was to be transparent about my progress and ask questions if I have questions. And if I couldn't hold the deadline, I had to communicate that early on. But other than that, I was just a normal part of the audio team working on real movies. And then they had sometimes they had like no budget projects within the company, and then they gave us the supervision of that projects. So we had to take care of everything, communicate with the whole team, with the director, producer, and decide who does what, and then also do the re-recording, mixing of that movies and deliver everything. and that was really the best school for me.
I think it's the best way to train someone. I mean, giving him real world commissions and jobs, but with a safety net
And it's actually
underneath.
what we're doing at the moment with our
Hmm.
students. It's
Hmm.
exactly what we're doing at the moment. It's just because we actually need people to help us, and like students, we're
So let me know
letting
a
them.
little bit more about that. Maybe your current state. So as far as I know, you started a company together, Hex Archive, right? And
Yes.
that is a company that produces sound effects and also music for different types of media. And you are about to build a real facility, post-production facility in Italy. And you operate as two founders. And just now you mentioned you also teach people. So tell me about your process and what you're doing at the moment.
CEO, do the honors. Now it's your turn.
Okay, so yeah, we started this. The idea we had since the beginning was to create something good, and I know it might sound a little bit, I don't know, but we wanted to create a hub where creators and people can make good stuff together. It sounds a little bit silly, but
Oh, it's genuine. It's fine.
it's
Yeah.
genuine, yeah. Because we always loved sharing and involving other people in the process and making things better together rather than do it the way you can alone.
Hmm.
This vision settled in our networking through these years when we were approaching any work, and then it turns out that the consequence of this was buying a building and creating a facility where you can actually create stuff and having people come in and help you out. Also, like you need, um, considering that me and Ricardo works together all the time, and we have our own way of splitting the job. We needed the thing that we needed the most was a place where to be together in, because at the moment we always been working our small studios at home, so we were separate,
Hmm.
and joining together only for Foley recording outside, or to go some like movie sets and so on. So we wanted this, and growing up, we found out that also like we were very passionate about also like teaching and sharing our experience and passion for this job.
Hmm.
So we had a couple of chances to teach, and this kind of things start to roll. And now we have been teaching in a couple of really also interesting schools and courses,
Hmm.
More than a
and
couple now, actually.
yeah.
It's like
Uh,
5 or 6.
Yeah, and we found out that we really love this. We really liked sharing and um, giving like a little bit of your passion to someone. And also at the same time, our company was getting into a phase where it needed to work on multiple projects side by side to increase also like the revenue and the income and everything. So we thought that having the students that are willing to do this work but they have no experience was much better to train them and involve them in our company rather than as we tried to hire people. We tried here in Italy to hire people that already were, I don't know, junior to say as a, but it didn't work much for us. Like it was not like I think one or two of them were kind of working, but with this student process, we found ourselves way more um, confident and happy.
It makes also a nice follow up after the course. You actually teach them in a course, and then after the course, you take them for an internship and some work, and it makes a smooth transition between the these two phases.
I also can relate. So we have very similar paths in that sense because from my industry experience now, I'm freelance only for a year almost, doing also a lot of teaching. And I was in the same spot as you were when I started teaching at certain universities just about Foley and stuff. I really enjoyed myself, and I went out of the classroom really energized, and that's how the whole name with the Foley teacher came about. And I really enjoy to give out my knowledge to others and to enable people to record Foley from their home studios or even bedrooms. And also seeing the results that people have is really satisfactory to me. And yeah, and also the business model that you just described, uh, on the one hand, okay, you're building a facility, which is in from my point of view a very like bold decision to do that, because it's a lot of cost, and seeing the whole industry like crumble and so many big facilities closing down. I think this is a very bold decision, and I
You can
admire
say
you
that.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that.
And on the other hand, having a network and an infrastructure of people you trained, and you make sure that they can deliver the quality you want to hand over to your clients without employing them from the very beginning, I think is so smart and appropriate to the times we live in.
It's a matter of sustainability. We found out that working with a network of freelancers and contractors is way more beneficial for now. I mean, I can't speak for the future, but for now it's very beneficial because you always have maximum flexibility for every project, and people are happy because they are also at maximum flexibility, and it's working fine for now. Yeah.
Quick one. As we're just starting out the journey of Pro Audio Secrets, I really want to ask you of one favor. Please subscribe to the channel, whether you're watching it on YouTube or any other platform. Please hit the follow or subscribe button and help us to grow that channel and to make Pro Audio Secrets more available to the world, because I think this is a benefit for all of us who are passionate about sound, and to invite as many guests as possible to share their knowledge and experience with us. Thank you.
I have a story for you, Bastian, because I think you will love it. Like recently, I was teaching at this 1 week course in H-Farm that is like a really um, technological, advanced startup place, where they have this really into the nature startup. I don't know how it's in English, but they grow up startups over there, and they do courses in a university as well. It's a
An
typical American
incubator.
campus. Yeah, exactly. Incubator. It's an incubator and a university. So they do this program where you can leave your son for, I don't know, 1 week or 2 week in the summer, and they can sleep there and stay in this campus. And you do like 6 hours lessons during the day, and then they have like fun activities. And I had the chance to teach Foley to this, and they are 13 to 14 years old. So they are in that age where they are starting to decide what they want to do in their life. So I think it's a really crucial moment of your life. So I could relate a lot with them. So I was teaching them, and I remember that when the course started, they were like really not interested at all. Like they found everything quite boring. They had no appeal to anything. But then as soon as we start recording Foley outside, and we actually do the sound design of a whole scene using only what we had over there, they went crazy, and they were so happy. And I remember that they were like the only one so sad to leave. And the best thing was this girl that it sent me emails after the course, asking me, because she started doing Foley for real with her father. So like I have this image of this girl going outside with her father recording sounds to go back home, and with him at the computer. His father, like her father, is not like a sound designer or anything. Like he's just a father trying to help her doing what she like. And it's amazing for me. Like they're asking me what microphones to buy, and because she wants to try to do this thing, and it's amazing. Like just for 1 week of trying to share your passion, like there's this family situation that is grown, that is amazing for me. It's just
Yeah, it's a great reward, and also to spark other people's passion or to make them realize what they can be passionate about is really something special. And
Yeah.
also sharing in general. I think the age of sharing is now, and the age of gatekeeping, luckily, is kind of over.
Definitely
And
over for everything now. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a
Also
good
because
thing.
you can't gatekeep anything now. You can't,
Yeah.
even if you wanted.
So do you have anything that you can recommend others if they want to start out as a audio person, whether it's in music or sound effects?
Yeah, this is your turn, my
Mm.
my mentor friend.
Oh my God, something to recommend.
Get good.
I'm yeah, yeah, get good. And maybe the most useful thing I can say to someone who wants to get in the audio industry is be armed with tons of patience and I mean it sounds kind of rhetorical. I can understand, but it's actually it's the most true thing you can say to someone. Just be armed with a lot of patience and a lot of a lot of strength. You have to know your market, know your stuff, and have a knack especially have a knack for people and projects. You have to have a sense for the people around you. Find nice persons to collaborate with, and maybe that's the most important thing now that I think about it. Find
Mm.
valuable persons to collaborate with.
How do you make yourself valuable to those people, and how do you convince?
At doing something that you have to. I mean, it sounds like this kind of motivational, guru or something. But you have to find something that you can bring to the table. And
Yeah.
I know again it sounds kind of rhetorical, but nonetheless it's true. You have to find something that you can bring to the table, and then people are going to go to you for your contributions for that. That's the most valuable thing.
Let's say someone is passionate about audio and that they really want to go for it. What is the first thing you can start learning those things? Is it something online, or do you find a mentor? What do you think is the best strategy in order to build up some muscle and to train yourself in something?
Three
It's
stuff.
different now.
I
Yeah,
think
first off, yeah.
three things. I think first one is and maybe the most powerful one is study the things that you like. Do you love a movie? Do you love a video game? Do you love a product of any type? Just deconstruct and study everything that is on that product and everything that has been done for the makers of the product. I mean, if you're studying guitar, if you want to do sound effects, if you want to mix, if you want to master, like doing everything, you have to deconstruct and study the things that you like. There's no
To
way
begin
around
with, yeah.
it. Yeah, there's no way
But
around
for
it.
me, when it comes to like the path, there's a lot of like good quality courses. There's a lot of good quality stuff. Like
This
I
was the
think,
second thing I was going
yeah,
to say. In fact,
yeah,
yeah.
So first, you get passionate about the things that you already love and
hmm
deconstruct them and study how they came across, whether it's sound
hmm
effects, how the sound effects are structured, or how someone plays an instrument, how does the song being constructed together, or how is a solo being played, or
hmm
what's the
Exactly.
structure behind it, how can you achieve to maybe replicate that, what do you have to do in order to play that solo yourself.
Yeah. What
um,
are the blueprints basically?
yeah,
The blueprints of everything. Yeah.
got you. And then the next thing is find yourself maybe an online learning, whether it's a course or something free on YouTube.
Yeah, I think now we are at a golden age of masterclass and courses. But like in every golden age, you have to be careful about the all the things that are available to you. So you have to pick very carefully because money is limited. The money you can invest in those stuff is limited. So you have to pick, to pick the right things to invest on, and find good and recommended courses and people you feel are okay and are aligned to your vision are mandatory to achieve that. I think you have to
also
be
like
careful.
people who works. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's
Who actually works. Yeah.
So
Who
that
actually
was
works.
my question related to that. Before we go to the third thing you want to recommend,
Mhm.
what kind of course would you think is best? I understand you now that you learn from someone who is definitely part of the industry. And what is your take on, let's say, you want to do Foley, for example, and then you book my coaching rather than going to a private school where you get like a broader overview about audio and media? Like where is the sweet spot? Should you approach a wholesome education and you pay like 10, 15K for a private university, or you pick the people you want to learn from and then invest your money directly into those individual courses?
The most effective way of learning this is deconstructing actual commissions, deconstructing real commissions, and deconstructing real jobs that are valuable in some way. And I mean, whether it's big schools or single professionals, I would maybe be I would lean towards single professionals, because I think you can get a stronger bond with them and deeper knowledge of the craft and all the hidden little things of working and
It's more
finding
practical.
more practical, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say that schools or singles professionals are better or worse in any way, but the
But I think there's one thing more that I want to add, because it's something that happened to me in my private lessons, for example, is not everyone has the same approach to studying, and I think that everyone can follow into different paths. Like there's people who are very willing and they're doing their work also when they're not at the course or when they're not home, when they're not there. So when they go back home, they do their research, they do their work, they have an attitude to self grow themselves. Other people, they need to have more scholarship, like do this, do it like that, do it like this, and do the little exercise and so on. So I think these are two different type of approach to learning, and I think it just suits different personalities. So it happens to me that I think that when you go to a professional, he's gonna give a lot of handwork, a lot of like direct on the job, and I think it's the best way to learn something, it will be for me. But I always had this self-growing attitude also at the conservatory. I was there to study music for films, but I wanted to do video games, so I was just doing a part of my job. The rest of the job was at home studying video games, studying game audio. So that's one approach. I saw other people that needed a more structured and maybe they just want to know how it feels like to do that job, just want to have an idea what is going on, not maybe just dive directly into the work immediately. So I think it's not that simple when it comes to this. It's not always like a best solution overall, like, because we are all different.
Another thing that maybe stuck out from me from what you said is, if you want to go for a school in particular, then maybe it's a good thing to research who is actually teaching there and to find out if the teachers are like real world professionals, or if this is more an academic approach from people that are more in academia and more into research. And
without any doubt, Sebastian, that's the
Yes.
the thing you have to do. Whether you're studying comics, photography, audio, graphic
Whatever.
design, whatever.
And then on the other hand, as you said, Enrico, it's also depending on what you want. If you want to be in science and you want to, make a PhD in audio, maybe the more science-orientated teachers are better for you because they already went down that road and you can learn from them exactly that. If you want to be in the industry, then maybe find a school that has industry teachers. Yeah, that we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Cool. Shoutouts to Marcella Rada, that I met her recently in London, and she's exactly about academia and research and all these things, and she's very passionate about it, and that's totally fair. If that's your path, you should go and learn from people like Marcella, and if you want to be in the industry, maybe you should go to Enrico and Ricardo and learn from them.
Yeah.
Of Bastian, yeah.
But I wanna just add a really quick thing to the question you did to ask Ricardo, like for when someone wants to get into the industry of like audio, what you recommend? One thing that I always recommend is finding someone you trust and you have esteem, because it's really important to have someone to share opinion and also like discuss. I think that me and Ricardo are the proof that.
Oh, it's the emotional moment now. Okay.
No, it's not
I have to prepare. Okay.
It's not the emotional moment, but maybe neither of us, but maybe you, yes, but me, I will not be here like doing this if I were alone, because like either Ricardo or somebody else, like you need someone that you trust, that you want to share your vision and correct your path. Being alone is so difficult nowadays.
So you mean a mentor or a partner?
No, a partner.
Partner.
I mean, it's not necessarily a partner that you collaborate with, but someone you can have always a confrontation, someone that you can go to get feedback, to get opinions. That's and also like to absorb what is learning, and this constant sharing and teasing each other somehow with new inputs that are fuel for this career, because the fuel run out at a certain point because it's really difficult. So you always need to find a way to get fuel, and having someone you trust and you have a really strong esteem of this person, it's really important for me.
So do I understand you correct that even if you don't have a partner that you can share the work with and start something together like you did, it's worth sharing your thoughts and your career ideas and the way you want to move forward with a friend, let's say, and get feedback from a good friend that you can trust?
Yeah, obviously that is in the industry that it wants to do the same thing as you, like he has a similar vision, someone that is doing the same things that you are doing, like in the design world, I'll say.
So that is then resonating with what Ricardo said, that you have to be good at networking, because you have to reach out somewhere in order to find that person. Even if you don't work with him or her, they have to be in the industry and can understand you and can give you perspective from their own experience, right?
Yes. I started my career as a one-man band, believing that one-man band was the coolest thing ever, and I end up the opposite. So I don't believe in one-man band anymore.
Yeah, I'm at the moment in the situation that I'm more or less a one-man show, but I'm already involving other people that I started training and people that inspired me, for example, to become more active in social media, or who gave me the final push. There was someone who reached out to me, shout outs to Isaio Branco in Brazil. He reached out on social media when I had 200 something followers, telling me like that he sees some potential there with the stuff I'm doing, with the few videos I had on my profile. And then he motivated me to really go and post every day in a shorter format. And he gave me his platform in the beginning to share the first 2 videos with him together. And that's how it all started for me to be really get going on the social media thing and post every day. I was planning that or from the very beginning when I was building my studio with putting everything in place, proper film light, I had camera, so I knew that this is the kind of thing I have to do in order to promote myself, and I also wanted to do it. But then he gave me the final push and connected with me, and he enabled me to really pursue the path that I wanted to do. I needed him in order to get it done, and then all the things fell into place. Maybe I had my mind being active with that topic for 1 or 2 years, and then when he came, he pressed the button, and then I could deliver the things that were like holding up in within myself. I could then bring out. So yeah, it's really true. If you have someone you can bounce off things, and also he is motivating me a lot because I see how hard he's working, and he's in Brazil, so he has a different situation with the whole industry and infrastructure, money. All these things are very different from Germany. So I see how how invested he is, what he's willing to do in order to succeed with his company, with his vision, and this is really inspiring to me as well. And then also I can inspire him in terms of what I achieved so far, and I can share my knowledge with him, and so it's a benefit on both ends.
Yeah, it's mutual. That's the great thing about collaborating and bonding, actually.
Yeah.
And following up on what Enrico said, another thing that came to my mind now as a recommendation for anyone willing to get into these kind of jobs is don't live in the fear that people will steal you the commissions and the job. Always try to get to know more people and to make more people involved in your project. I mean, do you have to work on a project? Okay, maybe let's try. There's this one guy maybe which is a sound designer, and you've always seen him as a competitor, as a that kind of subtle competitor feeling. So you actually maybe you get along, but deep inside you think, yeah, but you do the same job as me, so I have to get myself the job first. Try instead to make him involved in a project you do. That will always pay off for everything, because that guy is going to call you maybe in another project. That guy is going to ask you for an advice on something. That guy is going to to know you and know that you're nice. So
and maybe one day you will need some help for real, because the problem is complicated, and you already have an experience with this person that you work with them together, and you know that the quality is like that you know, and so on.
So don't settle with that subtle competitor feeling and competitor relationship. Try to involve more people in your project, talk with more people, and that may sound silly, but it pays off every time.
So sharing is caring, and
guaranteed.
The provision comes to you if you want, whether you want it or not. It's for me personally. As I'm a Muslim, I already have that belief, that core belief that the provision is coming, and I just have to be my authentic self and give value out to people, and then things come back. To wrap this up, what do you wish for yourself, and what do you wish for the audio industry? Can you maybe elaborate on that a little bit before we end?
Well, I know, I kind of know what I wish for myself. It's a lot of money. No, kidding. No, I wish for myself that this project that we've been working on, like very genuinely, it really started very genuinely, very emotionally also, let's say, will continue to be that way even through all the hassle of being a company, finding jobs and pay the bills. So I really wish that we can always keep doing what we like, and surviving and having like a normal life and doing what we like um, with this project that we created. And obviously the deeper wish is that what we are doing will be somehow meaningful in terms of like inspiring someone. Like I'm always being so grateful for the people who inspired me. As I say, for Halo, for example, I had the chance to meet Martin O'Donnell, the composer, and it was just, very, very important to me because he's basically the person that, without knowing, changed my life.
Hmm.
So that I really hope that one day that's gonna happen somehow. That my work is relevant to someone. So that's what I hope. And for the or for the audio industry in general, uh, I
Mm.
don't even know if I got it right at the moment. So I don't know. I don't know if I can. I'm always wondering if I got it right. So that's the feeling I have when I think about the audio industry. But I really hope that the products that involve the audio are gonna grow and grow and get always more interesting and um, more relevant to people. That we're not gonna end up uh, in I don't know, like just really hope that it keeps going better and better as it always been, even if sometimes we're not able to understand that it's better.
So you mean that people appreciate audio more, like relevant people who have budgets for audio, and that they allocate it actually to audio and appreciate our work more? Is that what you mean?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know if I can say something like that because if you think about products like already they have like everyone, if you speak to everyone knows and respect the audio and have. I think I never spoke to any game designer who said that audio is half of the video game who, or people who went to the movies and say, "Oh, music is amazing." So everyone knows that. I think there's other rules involved that comes with the industry itself.
Hmm.
That maybe is the reason why, as audio producer, we feel like audio is not that valued as it should. So it's really complicated, and honestly, I don't know what to say.
Hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. I can relate, kind of. It's a tricky question, especially when it comes to the audio industry, as it is a very broad field.
Yeah, I created a piece inside of myself saying I will just keep doing what I think is the best and do it in the best way possible, and I will not get into the hustle of trying to control or predicting what is gonna happen because when it comes to audience, it's always audience in terms of general people who receive our product and listen to our products. Like it's so random
Hmm.
sometimes that it's just, and it's the reason why I abandoned music, producing music like discographic music, like albums and so on, is because that element of randomness was too scary,
Hmm.
honestly, for me. Thinking that you can spend 1 year working on something and maybe they don't like it at all, and I mean, that was hmm, kind of scary. So I thought that the media industry was more solid,
Hmm.
also on a work perspective. I am the more um, technician of the two, as you might
Yeah, it
have
makes a
understand.
total sense in terms of business advice that you
Yes.
that you find yourself something that is a bit more sustainable and reliable than being an artist and having a 1% chance of succeeding financially with that.
Yeah. Ricardo is not like that.
My answers are going to be very concise with these kind of questions. I'm going to quote 100% what Enrico said and what I what I hope it will happen is that the company is going to do very well. I mean, keep doing very well, and everything is going fine, and it will always be sustainable, and etc. But also, if I have to be completely honest, my my deepest desire in what I'm willing for the future is that we're going to do many more cool projects and do some cool stuff. That is my, leaving all the grown-ups things aside. What I really want to is to do more and more cool stuff, to work on more and more cool stuff and cool projects, and have fun and met talented people and work with talented people. That's what I want to do, basically. Aside from the company and all the the adults thing in the world, like about what you're building. And the other answer is hoping for the industry is that this is another another childlike answer, is to see more. Maybe the answer is the same, to see more cool stuff from the industry. I want to find cool ideas and find products and audio designs to be to be how do you call
innovative?
that? Yeah, innovative, but to be stupito. How do you say stupito? Surprised by, yeah. I want to be surprised by new and cool stuff and new and cool designs, sounds, and that is the other deepest desire that I have for the industry, to see more cool stuff.
Yeah,
to be
makes total
surprised.
sense.
I know it's naive, but all the nice and mature and all the other things have already been said by Enrico, so I can.
I hear a lot of passion about sound. I want to thank you for sharing all your passion and your path with me in that conversation. And I really appreciate the thing that you represent, like, investing in a long-term collaboration and partnership and friendship. And people who work with someone closely know that this is not the easiest thing to pursue a relationship within business for so long. And so, yeah, kudos to you. And I wish you all the best for your company, for your facility, for the teaching, and also for the projects, so that you have fun and also bring us and the world those innovations and those surprises that you just mentioned.
It's been lovely to talk to you, Bastian, and all our best wishes to all your projects, your stuff, your teaching side, and all the productions, and also your facility.
Thank you.
Well. It's been a lovely conversation. I mean, every conversation with you has been lovely so far. Also the Gamescom one. But I think you're a nice host. Maybe you're a nice host.
I appreciate it.
very nice host. Yeah, it was really lovely also to meet in person. I'm really happy that we did, and I hope it's not gonna be the last time.
Next Gamescom, I want to host a barbecue at my place, so you can already you can already mark that in your calendar. And everyone who wants to be a VIP in the Gamescom audio world, and just DM me and get yourself the Saturday marked as a barbecue.
Very nice.
Cool.
Okay.
I never been to Audio Nerds barbecue. It'll be the first time.
Let's do it then. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bastian.
I really appreciate that you listened up until the end. If you haven't hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you watch or listen this, please do so now, because it helps the channel to grow. And I see a lot of value in pro audio secrets for the whole pro audio community, especially to people who want to start out in the industry and looking for their first role or their first paid gig. Definitely look into finding your own voice in sound. That can change over time. But look at what it is now, and then take a step towards that and try to elevate this thing that you have within you and get the sound out of yourself, your unique sound. That is something you need to find in order to succeed in pro audio, especially these days. And again, this can change over time, but you have to start looking within yourself what's really the thing that you can provide for the world in terms of your sound, okay? If you're looking for more advice like that, please feel free to reach out to me via DM on Instagram, comment the word industry, and then you can book a free mentorship call with me. We're also building Pro Audio Academy up from the ground right now, and you can join that as a beta tester, or later on, once it's rolled out, you can just come in and learn with us. Thanks for watching. Maybe watch another one now or later. See you then. Thanks. Peace, the Foley teacher.